Our website is officially up. Below. Now it's a start comparison a supplement to the media. More details in the near future, you can be able to get inventory of firearms. It's growing by way. And also for content, we have a new series coming up. It's called Accepting Your Limits. The Pelekagari series. No Kenyan review accessible. So stay tuned, we are going to bring that to you also. And now let's go to number 5. Number 5 is the bigger brother to the VW Polo and the Audi A1. They are almost older. That is the VW Gold CSI. The GTI does not fall in this category because it's more expensive. And we are limited to a budget of 1.5 million. Now, the other difference between this and the Polo is that this particular VW is the Mark 7, not the Mark 5. The Polo is the Mark 5, but the Golf is the Mark 7. The VW Golf is a favorite to many. It's a fun-looking hot hat. And also now, with the price tag, it makes it a car that is within this also.
Okay, it's now 11 a.m. East Africa time, and good morning, everybody. We are ready for our Afrauti Cybersecurity Awareness webinar, focusing specifically on cybersecurity career opportunities. I can see we are about 30 of us. Some of us are joining in. Maybe let's give them a minute or so as we check whether the speakers are also available. So we are on time and we be starting anytime now. And thank you everybody for joining. For those who have joined, thank you very much. I'm going to be the moderator for the session. My name is Stephen Gashogu. I work at Afrauti. I am a cybersecurity expert. So let's take a minute. We give some few more people to join the webinar.
Is here, nobody's getting it back. Only this one. This is my colleague, it's called Remember.
Okay, it's about 5 minutes after 11. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining. You can see some few more people joining. They'll find us in the discussions. I had mentioned earlier, my name is Stephen Gashogu. I work at Afrauti. I am a cybersecurity expert here. And today we'll be joined by several cybersecurity experts. I'll be introducing them to you, and they'll be sharing their experiences and their knowledge around cybersecurity. And they'll be here to assist us in understanding or demystifying the cybersecurity opportunities. So again, thank you very much and good morning, everybody. The day here is fine in Kenya for those who are in Kenya. And I hope everybody else from wherever they are, you have a good weather for the session. So this webinar is going to be opened officially by a representative from Afrauti, Mr. Jonathan Mwakijele. Mr. Jonathan Mwakijele will be representing the Afrauti director, William Baraza, who was not able to be with us today. And Jonathan is the head of training at Afrauti. I think without wasting or spending more time, let's have Jonathan opening the session. Jonathan, over to you.
Good morning. Steve, are you able to hear me?
Yes, Jonathan, you can hear you clearly.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, so as I've been introduced by Steve, I'm Jonathan Mwakijele, and I'm the head of the Department of Training, Consultants and Research here at Afrauti. Afrauti is African Advanced Level Telecommunication Institute. So on behalf of Director of Afrauti, I just want to welcome all the participants who are attending this webinar. Yeah, so basically, I think we are all aware this month is cybersecurity awareness. It's a National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. So as Afrauti, of course, to celebrate that, of course, and recognize that we have organized a cybersecurity awareness webinar. And just in a nutshell, maybe some of you might be interacting with Afrauti for the first time or attending this kind of event for the first time. I'll just highlight quickly about our institute. So Afrauti, as I said, is African Advanced Level Telecommunication Institute, of course, which was started in 1991. Yeah, so it's an intergovernment organization with 8 active member states. We are talking of Kenya, which is the host country. Of course, we are hosted by Government of Kenya through Communication Authority of Kenya, who are the regulators in Kenya. So other member states, we are talking of Tanzania, Uganda, that is from East Africa. Then from central part of Africa, we're talking of Malawi, Zambia, Zimbabwe. And southern part, we have got Mozambique and Kingdom of Eswatini. So those are the active member states of Afrauti. But of course, in terms of what we offer in terms of training, consultancy, research in ICT sector, of course, our services are not limited to the 8 countries. We have done some work in western part of Africa, talking about Ghana, Nigeria, Gambia, and many other countries. Of course, they normally benefit some of the services that we offer. We focus more when we are offering training, consultants, research. Basically, we focus more on technology and engineering, talking about the telecom part, then management, policy, and regulation. So those are some of the key areas that we focus. Then some of the clients that we have trained in the past, or we work closely. We work closely with the governments, of course, who we know that are policymakers. Then we work with operators, talking about the telecom, ISPs, broadcasters, also for TV and radio. Then, of course, we also engage with individuals, just like this specific webinar. Individuals, of course, we are inspiring to be ICT professionals, or ICT professionals may be looking for different certifications. Yeah, then of course, the individuals, most of the time, of course, we find most of them are interested in Cisco certification, Huawei certification, or fiber optic, and some of them may be EC Council certification, more especially on the cybersecurity. Yeah, so those are some of the different areas. So this webinar, of course, it will be an opportunity for us to engage with you and understand maybe your training needs or some skills gap, and also be able to develop relevant programs, working with our partners, and some of them are in this webinar, talking about EC Council are here, Huawei, Avnod Group, and ICMEC, who are represented here. So at this juncture, I would just want to officially open this webinar. You are all welcome. So we're looking forward to you fully engaged through different platforms. I believe Steve will be sharing with you more other way that you can be able to engage with us, as the speakers will be continuing to share with you. So thank you very much. Steve, back to you.
Oh, thanks, Jonathan. And this webinar is officially opened, and we are going to continue with what you have planned for the day. And there's just some few things. Yes, we are live on what? YouTube. We are streaming on YouTube. If you have a friend, you can also ask them, if they did not get a chance to register, you can ask them to follow our proceedings there on YouTube. I think we are also on Instagram, if I'm not wrong. But something else is we on Zoom, there's a chat tool that we welcome you to use. If you have a question, even before the presentation is made, you can always chat, text us there. Our team here at Afrauti is going to be looking at the questions that you are raising. Later at the end of the presentation, we are going to have a panel discussion. And during the question and answer session, we are going to try as much as possible to respond to your queries. So make use of the facilities available for the discussions. We want this discussion to be as interactive as possible. It's not just listening to our panelists here. Of course, they are highly capable, but we also want to hear from you. It is through understanding what you have to tell us that we are able also to respond, and in future come up with the solutions that can help our countries and societies. So for those who have joined, thank you very much. We have already started, but we are yet to start our first presentation. Just a quick one. This event, as mentioned there by Mr. Jonathan Mwakijere, is done by Afrauti during this month, the Cybersecurity Month, which has been which was started some way back by the US, I think in 2004, just to create awareness. Our focus for this webinar is cybersecurity opportunities, because we believe that cybersecurity opportunities will be there, actually there, and even in future, there will be need for cybersecurity. Our panelists will be discussing that. But just to share some statistics, there was some research done in the US showing that from 2019 all the way to 2029, the careers in the cybersecurity will be growing at a rate of 31%. So in the foreseeable future, cybersecurity careers will remain very relevant. So we encourage each one of us who is here to continue doing more research and studies in that area, and also encouraging other people to join these cybersecurity careers. And something else, just to confirm that every day we hear of attacks, and if you remember, just last week we had the global outage of Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp. All these are issues to do with cybersecurity. I think they were talking about DNS, and that is still part of cybersecurity. The theme for this year is do your part, and by doing your part, you study some concepts in cybersecurity, and the reason for that is to make a world a safer place in terms of digital access. Jonathan mentioned that we are working here today with some of our partners, and he mentioned some of them. They are represented by the capable specialists in cybersecurity. We have Rose Mosero, who is a cybersecurity, who works at ODPC, that is the Office of Data Protection here in Kenya. We have Giulamo Galas, my colleague calls him Gigi because of that difficult name, but he also be teaching us how to pronounce that besides sharing other things to do with cybersecurity. And we also have, Gigi is from ICMEC, that is International Center for Missing and Exploited Children. We also have Joby, we'll be further introducing during their sessions. They'll be introducing themselves further during their sessions. Joby is from EC Council, and we are very happy to be with you. And you have also Draw from Avnon group. Avnon is from Israel. Draw will also be sharing more about the Avnon group and also the cybersecurity career in finance. And finally, we have someone from Huawei, John Mwasi, who will be representing Leo, who is not able to join us today, but John is equally capable to share with us during today's webinar. So that's the panel that we have, and thank you very much for having time or making time to attend this this webinar, and also coming here to do your presentation. So thank you very much. So without spending more time, we are going to straight to the first presentation. The first presentation will be by, you can chat on the chat too. The first presentation is going to be by Madam Rose Mosero on cybersecurity career opportunities in law. And earlier mentioned, Madam Rose is a policy, regulatory, and legal advisor at the Data Commission in the Office of the Data Protection Commission, or DPC. So over to you, Rose. You can start your presentation. Just to remind ourselves, we have spent almost 20 minutes, and each one of us was supposed to have 15 minutes. So if you can spend 15 or less minutes, that would be appreciated. Rose Mosero, over to you.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Stephen, and thank you so much to Afalti for inviting me and the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner to speak to you today. It's certainly an honor to be here. As has been mentioned by Stephen, just by way of background, Rose Mosero is my name. I'm a legal policy and regulatory advisor to the Data Commissioner, Madam Immaculate Kasait, who is the first Data Commissioner in Kenya. And prior to that, I guess I still operate as that. I'm also a legal advisor, legal policy and regulatory advisor to the Cabinet Secretary, Joe Musheru, Ministry of ICT, Innovation and Youth Affairs, and the Cabinet Secretary is the one that seconded me to assist Madam Kasait set up the office. So that's currently what I do. And before I jump into the opportunities and a bit of background about myself, I'll just tell you a bit more about the data protection, the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner, and specifically the data protection laws in Kenya. It's a very novel piece of legislation. Not many of you would have interacted with it, but just so that you get an idea of what I do, it might assist you a bit more to understand. So in terms of the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner, it was established or came to be on the 16th of November 2020, following the swearing in of the first commissioner, as I've mentioned, Madam Immaculate Kasait. However, the office was established by an act of Parliament called the Data Protection Act, which was enacted on the, it was assented to on the 8th of November and came to effect on the 25th of November 2019, so about a year prior to the swearing in of Madam Kasait. Just a bit of background in regards to the Data Protection Act. It's actually based on policy, and the policy framework for this is Kenya Vision 2030 that promotes the implementation of policies for broad-based inclusion, and it is an overarching goal to catapult Kenya to a middle-income economy. One of the things that it focuses on is the Big Four agenda, which I think we've all interacted with, which is universal health, manufacturing, food security, and affordable housing. And when we look at this, one of the things that is seen as a key enabler is ICT. So ICT is critical to the attainment of the Kenya Vision 2030, as well as the Big Four agenda. On the back of this, the Ministry of ICT, Innovation and Youth Affairs developed a couple of three instrumental documents that would see Kenya leapfrog her economy through promotion of ICT. The first one is the National ICT Policy. The second one is a Digital Economy Blueprint for Africa, which was launched at the Smart Africa Summit in Rwanda in 2019 by His Excellency, the President Uhuru Kenyatta. And then there is a draft digital economy strategy, which is effectively a 5-year implementational roadmap to operationalize digital economy blueprint. Of those documents that I've mentioned, there was a key factor that was brought out. If we want to see a digital economy for Kenya, then we must ensure that we have data protection. And when we talk about data protection, it's effectively ensuring that we are safeguarding personal data. So this is data identifiable to an individual. And so from that, and on the basis of the constitutional right to privacy, the Ministry of ICT initiated a process where it called on the task force to develop the Data Protection Act, which was then later enacted and is now law. That's just a bit of background about the act itself, and this is the office that I work in. But just to tell you a bit about myself and what I do, as I mentioned, I'm a policy and legal expert. So I am a lawyer by profession. I am a dually registered lawyer, both in Australia and in Kenya. My specialization is mostly in technology law and privacy, specifically data protection. I hold a master's in, sorry, there's a bit of an echo. I think it might be someone's mic that is on. Thank you for that. I hold a master's in international security studies and another in policing, intelligence, and counterterrorism, all with a background in cybersecurity. How did I fall into cybersecurity? I think it was an accidental fall as well as a matter of interest. As a lawyer, cybersecurity laws or technology law is not something that is overtly drilled in. There's usually issues of, the commercial aspects or, there's certain areas of law that are favored over others. Technology law is something that is relatively new, but very much fast becoming a new area that is embraced by many, and certainly there is a whole field that is it's ripe for new talent. And especially as we continue to advance in technology, it's very important that we get the right sort of skill sets in this area. And so as a product of that, my legal background, not in Kenya, but in Australia, was mostly in regards to litigation. So in terms of litigation around technology specifically. But when I did move here, my focus shifted slightly. And so I utilized my training and my litigation aspect to look at policy frameworks, and specifically touching on aspects of privacy, which is how I ended up working in the Office of the Cabinet Secretary. But when we look at cybersecurity specifically and the sorts of jobs available to people such as myself, I was always told when I was a law student that law is actually just it's a stepping stone to anything. So with the right sort of information and education, you can effectively use your law career or your legal training to get into almost any sort of area that you really want to. And so for me, I won't necessarily say cybersecurity being one of them, but specifically data protection and privacy being a very an area that is very key to me, and something that is of interest. And I've tried to ensure that as I continue with my career, that I'm focusing specifically on these issues of data protection and getting the right sort of certifications to enable me to be an expert in this area, even though that it's not necessarily a main focus for advocates or lawyers. But when we talk about the sorts of opportunities that are there for people who are doing law, there are quite a number. So one of the avenues obviously is working for regulators such as myself in the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner. However, there is also the policy aspect. So in terms of public policy and ensuring that we're gearing laws and policies, especially with the ever-changing and advancements of technology, there's need for policy and legislation to also follow in the advancements, so that there is ethical and lawful use of data, as well as protection when it comes to cybersecurity. And when we look at cybersecurity, we're not just looking at, so data protection is only just one aspect of cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is very broad. I think there's someone who will be talking about law enforcement, but there's also issues of national security that come in play when we talk about cybersecurity. So hopefully one of the other speakers will be touching on that a little bit more. And then we look at, obviously, from practitioner's perspective, whether you're a lawyer, as a litigator, or you look at as an analyst, or even just as a compliance, a person who's in risk and compliance as a lawyer. So you have very many legal frameworks currently that govern issues of cybersecurity and data protection. Some of those in Kenya are the Kenya Information Communication Act, the KICA Act, which is regulated by the main regulator there is a Communications Authority. Then you look at the Data Protection Act, which looks at the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner. There is also different financial sector law to talk about data protection and cybersecurity. There is a Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act that looks at the law enforcement aspects, also looks at some of the things that are deemed to be critical information infrastructure as well that need to be protected. So there's aspects in that where even as an organization is looking at its core business, it really needs to put in mind the cybersecurity aspects and data protection aspects that come to play. Some of them are mandated by law, and some of them are just issues of protecting the information that is held within that organization for the sake of business continuity, as well as consumer trust, and just those investments that are necessary to actually ensure that business is growing and you're keeping not only personal data safe, but also commercial information safe. Then I think I've mentioned a practitioner, but when we look at a practitioner, you're not just looking at practitioners in regulatory sense, but you're looking at NGOs, You're looking at public sector, which also needs a lot of cybersecurity experts, including experts. I won't touch on this because this is not my sphere, but, you know, it's, for example, in the Communications Authority, it has its own cybersecurity department that deals with the KE cert. And so these are areas that certainly are ripe for fresh thinking and obviously new people to come in and take up some of the positions that are there, as well as obviously the Office of Data Protection Commissioner, which is currently not fully staffed and will be doing recruitment. So again, a lot of opportunities. And just to give you a bit of a background on in terms of the sorts of opportunities that are made available. Stephen mentioned how many jobs are created in cybersecurity. But in terms of data protection, which, as I've said, is just one aspect of cybersecurity, when the general data protection regulations for the EU came into place on the March 25th, 2018, it was expected that there would be a creation of 75,000 jobs just from this one piece of legislation, because there was a need for data protection officers who can also be cybersecurity analysts, cybersecurity practitioners as well. And that was 75,000 jobs globally from that one piece of legislation. However, if you look at the roll-on effects of this legislation, a lot of other countries, simply because they want to put themselves in the same playing ground as other European countries where it comes to data protection, have also enacted new laws, some of which require data protection officers who, as I've said, could be IT experts, could be law practitioners dealing with compliance, with knowledge of cybersecurity and data protection safeguards or security safeguards. And it could be a whole range of people specifically interested in safeguarding information. And so I don't know that there's a study that has been done, but the opportunities are infinite in terms of the sorts of job creation that these regulations and these sorts of laws will come into place. I think recently we've had quite a number of African countries that have embraced data protection and enacted laws and regulations in that field. So perhaps maybe this not only just looking at cybersecurity as a whole, but perhaps focusing a bit more on data protection might be something that might be of interest to some of you on this call. And if so, I know that I'm running out of time. I'll just put it out there that I am certainly available to discuss any of the opportunities outside of this call. I think you can speak to Catherine and Stephen if you want to reach out to me, but be encouraged that there are a number of roles that are out there, whether you're you've got an IT background or you've got a legal background such as myself. So thank you so much again for letting me talk to you about this area that is very key to me and something that is I'm passionate about. And I will give it back to Stephen, just in the interest of time, so that I'm not taking up too much time. And thank you so much, Stephen.
Okay, thank you, Rose. Thank you for that detailed presentation on what is happening at OBPC, Office of the Data Protection Commissioner, and also outlining some of the things that you do and also how you have gotten to where you are. That's actually inspiring, especially I'm sure to quite a number of the audience here. And also thank you for inviting us to explore opportunities that you can share. I'll be speaking with Catherine, who is here at the moment. Yeah, she's listening, and we can always organize something or an event and see how we can explore those opportunities. Again, thank you very much. Please do not go away. We still need you at the end of the presentation. I know the audience is ready with some questions. We also have some questions that we want to share with you. So thank you very much. Our next speaker is going to be Gigi, Mr. Gigi on cybersecurity career opportunities in law enforcement. Gigi is the Vice President, Partnership and Law Enforcement Training at ICMEC. ICMEC, I mentioned, it's an international center for missing and exploited children. Gigi, please take the space here and do your presentation.
Well, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Very okay.
Very good. My apologies. Right now, it's about 4:30 in the morning, my time. I am located in Washington, D.C. So good morning to everyone. Yes, my name is Gigi. I go by Gigi, but really it's Guillermo Galarza. I work at an organization called the International Center for Missing and Exploited Children. And I'll talk a little bit about what the International Center with the acronym is ICMEC, International Center for Missing and Exploited Children. We're an organization located outside Washington, D.C. And our main function is to really build capacity. But before I talk a little bit into capacity, and I want to make sure that you understand how this revolves into cybersecurity, and you think about child exploitation, right? And cybersecurity, but actually cybersecurity and child exploitation are very related. And this is why. When you look at the number of criminal enterprises, right? Mainly you look at the drug trade, and you look at weapon trade. The number 3 one is child sexual exploitation and on trafficking. It generates billions of dollars a year. And that's why we focus a lot of the work on the online exploitation of children. Now, I've been on this space for about 25 years. And when I started right out of the university, I really didn't know what kind of job. You're a young kid trying to look for a job, right? So you're looking for opportunities. And I learned about the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, NECMEC. NECMEC is a non-governmental organization located in Washington, D.C. as well. And the goal of NECMEC is to really protect children online. 15 years I did that work, and then I moved to the International Center for Missing and Exploited Children to really look at the global perspective of online child sexual exploitation. Now, think about it for a minute. Now with the challenges that we're all facing with COVID, most of the children are spending their time at home. Most of the perpetrators are spending time at home. So what happens is it's that it generates an opportunity for child sex offenders to reach out to children, to try to groom them online, try to convince them to leave their houses. And for those of you who might be parents or have children at home, this is a very important message. The probability that a child will chat with a perpetrator or a pedophile online within the 5 minutes, it's highly 100%. Because again, children that are at home are spending, and I say with children that have access to technologies, right? They're natives of technology. They're spending time, most of the time they're playing on their computers, they're playing on their mobile technologies, cell phones, tablets, and so on. So it creates a risk because child sex offenders are aware that the children are playing video games, that they're trading images on online platforms, social media, and so on. So it creates a space for child sex offenders to reach out to children and try to lure them, trying to abuse them, trying to convince them to do certain things that they're going to regret. And eventually they're going to be blackmailed and they're going to be persuaded to send more images. If they don't send more images, those images are going to be circulated through all the networks. So the offenders are using social media platforms to convince children to do bad things. So as I said, with the rise of COVID, it has created a grave risk and challenges for all of us. When I say all of us, I meant international organizations, I mean law enforcement, judicial, and all the actors that are involved in this space, because it's a great problem. COVID has generated a tremendous amount of work for law enforcement and also for all the parties involved in child protection online. It is estimated that the online enticement of children because of COVID has risen to 97.5%. That number is tremendous. The numbers of reports that are being sent globally, just last year, actually in 2019, there were close to 19 million reports globally sent of online child sexual exploitation. Can you imagine the number of that? Now, in 2020, that number went from 19 million reports to almost 21.7 million reports of online child sexual exploitation, enticement of children, child sex trafficking, child sex tourism, and many other modalities of online child exploitation. And this is why it's very, very important. This area of exploitation is a cybercrime. It's a online child sexual exploitation that, as I said, generates revenue, because now you look at the issue of, say, for instance, traveling sex offenders, people that may go to Kenya. There's locations like Mombasa and other locations, or anywhere in the world really, to abuse children. Because of the travel restrictions, child sex offenders can't travel anymore, or they're very restricted. So what happens, it generates another avenue for streaming services, cryptocurrencies. Children are still gonna get abused, but offenders, they don't long have to travel to all these other countries. The sex is on demand, and offenders are using third-party applications, financial applications, to have to pay for these services. This is just one of the examples of how the internet, but also the situation of COVID, has presented other opportunities for illicit business, but also for perpetrators to have access to children. It's an issue of, as we mentioned, law enforcement is very proactive at working on this type of work, but also it's an issue of continuing training, continuing to develop capacity, and continue to engage with all these sectors, right? We look at the law enforcement, we look at the judicial system, but also what about research and data collection? What about other entities like Ministry of Education, right? It's very important to reach out to the schools and reach out to the teachers who spend most of the time with the children, either online or at home. Right now with COVID, most of the children are spending time at home, but the teachers who are teaching virtually are spending time with the children. I think it's an issue of also regulators and industry, because industry plays a huge role. And when I say industry, I'm talking about social media, I'm talking about financial industry, I'm talking about mobile technologies, because you got all these stakeholders that take part on the whole scope of building capacity. Let's look at the regulators as well. It is very important for even the state regulators that regulate internet governance, that policymakers need to be aware of the issue of online child sexual exploitation. It is a global issue that is going to continue to grow as internet grows in different parts of the world, as internet is relatively easily affordable and accessible. Children are going to have access to the internet, and that's going to give them a mechanism to engage with others. As I said a little bit ago, COVID has really generated just a challenge, a huge challenge for all of us. Children, here's another fact. Children are now self-producing images of child sexual exploitation. And what I mean by that, children are taking selfies and are sending them to their friends, to their boyfriends, to their girlfriends. Well, that generates another challenge because they're distributing illegal material of child sexual abuse. Now, do we arrest our way out of it? Of course not. We develop campaigns for education, campaign for awareness. Make sure that the parents are aware, make sure the families are aware, but also make sure that the school regulators are aware of what children are doing. Because one fact is for true. Once an image is out on the internet, on whatever media, social media application, you're never gonna get that copy out. And children, and also us as parents, need to be aware of these things. So in concrete, I think child exploitation it's a growing phenomenon. We often don't hear about it because it's a taboo issue. We often think, well, it doesn't happen here. It happens in other countries, but it happens all over the world. And I just mentioned to you the internet. It's kind of like a knife for children. You can cut a vegetable, you can cut an apple, but also you can harm yourself. And those are the risks that children are facing on this space. There's a lot of opportunities on this space, especially working with law enforcement agencies, working with industry, working with regulators. The laws need to be updated as well. One of the initiatives that we took years ago was that we looked at legislation globally, just to really look at the whole component of where are countries in terms of legislations as it relates to online child sexual exploitation. And the first report came in 2006. Okay, that was a long time ago, but back then we looked at 5 areas of key areas of legislation, whether distribution, criminalization, possession, manufacturing, and mandatory ISP reporting. Back in 2006, only 5 countries out of 196 countries met the criteria. Now in 2021, there's about 11 countries that have the full criteria. There's about 75 countries that have somewhat limited legislation, but there's still about 70 plus countries that have minimal laws and legislation. So this is another area that I think the key policymakers and legislators need to be aware about the issue of online child sexual exploitation. There are many organizations just like ours that addresses key legislation, that addresses key awareness issues, and most important, I think industry. And when I say industry, I mean tech industry has a huge role on this space. I'm talking about gaming as well. I'm talking also about the social media and many other online platforms that have developed tools as well, but also they have a corporate social responsibility to work with law enforcement and all the regulators to ensure that this harmful material is removed from their platforms. So with that said, I just want to conclude, there's a lot of opportunities in this area of online child sexual exploitation and the cyberspace. So please go ahead and I think our website is icmec.org, or if you look it up, it's the International Center for Missing and Exploited Children. I always say that we can never do everything alone. We have all our stake into it. Just like we're NGOs, there are many organizations out there that are all trying to do the best thing, and that is to protect children online. So thank you so much, and thank you, Afralti, for giving us the opportunity to present here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gigi, for that somewhat scaring information about children, but that is the reality. And indeed, sitting here and listening to you, everybody can understand that there is need for cybersecurity professionals, not only now, but also in future. I think as long as there will be children and internet, there will be need for cybersecurity professional. Gigi, please don't go away. As we agreed, later we are going to be together during the question and answer session. Next, I invite the other speaker on the topic on cybersecurity opportunities in IT by Joby Verghese. And Joby is from EC Council. Joby, you can introduce yourself, then make your presentation. Joby,
Sure.
over to you.
All right, Stephen, thank you for inviting EC Council, and I'm glad to be representing EC Council in this webinar. And I really appreciate the efforts you've taken during the Cybersecurity Awareness Month to have people know about the career opportunities. And I think what we heard today from Rose and Gigi is opens up a new area for all of us to have a look at it, because you know, as Rose mentioned, there are governments who are formulating laws. There are things which needs to be worked upon, and there are youngsters who are needed in this area to work on. And Gigi, that was an eye-opener, to be very honest. Of course, all of us are aware of the ill effects of internet on young children, but then this is something which is really an eye-opener. And I now feel that security awareness, cybersecurity awareness as a category is an important thing. I'm trying to share my screen. If the admin could allow that, please. And yeah, I've shared my screen. Could you, can you confirm if it's visible?
It's clear, Joby.
All right, okay. Okay, give me a moment. I'm just sharing my screen. Not very conversant with Zoom. Thanks to Microsoft, I've been using it, so I'm trying to see how I can take the screen off.
Okay.
All right. All right. Okay. Yeah, I have it. I've made it full screen. I hope we all can see it now. Is it visible to all of us?
From my end, it is. I'm sure it's visible to everyone.
All right, great. So let's move on. I'll try to finish it within the allotted time. I'll try if I can, you know, shave off a few minutes for the benefit of the event. So I'm glad once again to be part of it. And I really am honored to be representing EC Council in this webinar. I'm going to be talking about cybersecurity career opportunities, specifically focusing on IT, because there are other areas where experts have already spoken. So moving on, who's a cybersecurity professional? I would say cybersecurity professional is someone who loves challenges and relishes the thrill of problem solving. Now, cybersecurity, the moment we say security, which means there is need for action. And we believe that, you know, it's for those people who love challenges. We'll in the coming slides, we'll see what we mean by saying challenges and problem solving. Before I move into the rest of the details, I would quickly, maybe in 30 seconds, I'll quickly tell all of you about what EC Council is about. We are a cybersecurity training and certification body with over 22 decades of presence in this industry, and we have close to 40 different kinds of certifications. We also are into consulting and advisory, specifically in cybersecurity. We also have a beautiful product which I feel can do a great great work in the area of security awareness, specifically what Gigi spoke about. We have a product which basically talks rather caters to the security awareness of any device user. Now, today everybody is a device user, either at least a mobile phone, at least a smartphone is something which is used by a vast majority of the population across the world. It could be laptops, computers, tablets, or any other device user. This is important. So we have a product. We also have a CSR activity organization which handles the CSR for the group. In United States, we also have a university which primarily focuses on cybersecurity courses, graduate certificate programs, bachelor's and master's degree. Now, cybersecurity threat landscape, let's understand that. What are the threats which we all face today? It's not only normal viruses which gets affected, which you get affected by, but it could be many other things. It could be spywares, it could be ransomwares. I mean, ransomware has become a fad these days, isn't it? I mean, we hear about a ransomware attack on huge corporations, on governments, and even the United States government in the recent past ended up paying a lot of money to these guys who had gotten access to their systems. Of course, they were able to recover a portion of it because they are what they are. But is it possible for you and me to be that efficient? No. So what is important is that we need to understand the threats which are around us. Now, the way IT or information technology has evolved is, there were those days when we had only few computers connected to each other. Maybe it was, connected to a server inside one premises, and that's about it. There were limited options. Now, the security attack vectors, as far as the hacking or the attackers are concerned, they have so many of these options. I'm not going to talk about too many of them here because that's going to consume a lot of time. But each of these points which you see on the perimeters are the ones where there is a huge opportunity for these guys to break in and do all the damage which they can do. Now, let's look at the cybersecurity industry. Now, these are mind-boggling numbers. Today, 1 in every 6 crime is a cyber crime, and this is gaining momentum to an extent that this could shortly become the number one crime across the world. Now, imagine this number: 1 million new malwares. Malware is, for the simple understanding of people, it's basically viruses which are built. They are discovered every day. So imagine if 1 million is being discovered, how many are being made every day? So there are so many people, so many criminals out there who are trying to get things going in their favor. And close to $600 billion is lost to cybercrime every year, and that's a huge number. Imagine, many of the countries may not have that much of a GDP across the world, and that kind of money is being lost. So now we see these threats and we see these opportunities. We see these risks which are there. Now, what is also happening is when there is a threat, we also need a defense mechanism. Why do we have law enforcement? Why do we have Army, Navy, and the Air Force in a country? It is because there are threats. there is a need for defense, and there could be a need for offense as well. And that's why the countries build these mechanisms, right? And similarly, in cybersecurity, when these threats exist, there's also a need to build cybersecurity, cyber security. Now, for that, we need people who are skilled, people who are capable to defend, people who are capable to manage, people who are capable to handle different situations in as far as a cyber attack is concerned. So, today what has happened with all of us is that our life is technology. I mean, we can't think of even a moment without a mobile phone in our hand, or the moment we see connectivity lost in our device, we start getting some withdrawal symptoms, right? So the risks are huge. I mean, social engineering is another one. I'm sure each one of us on this call, about 84 of us on this call, every day we get emails, SMSs, and WhatsApp messages and whatnot, claiming that we have won millions of dollars of lottery, or somebody's wanting to give away some ranch in United States or somewhere in Australia, and they're just wanting to give it away because they don't know, they couldn't find a better person to give it to. We sometimes get some emails claiming to be offering huge discounts, let's say iPhone 13 being given away at about, let's say, $100 cost. Now imagine that's going to be attractive. The moment we are going to see that, we'll say, okay, let me grab that. The moment we click it, our system gets compromised because some malware, it could be anything which could get downloaded onto your systems. Now, businesses, most important topic today. Businesses today are 100% technology enabled. There's no business today which does not use technology. As simple as maybe an internet and a computer. At least they would use a computer to do a billing, and they would use an internet to connect to for emails with the outside world and so on. And the way we see it, as far as the studies are concerned, in fact, even Stephen was talking about it during his introduction, that the cybersecurity job market is going to grow significantly. There are numbers floating around, but I really don't want to go there. But then, as of now, one of the studies say that there are about 3 million cybersecurity jobs which are there across the world under different specializations and domains. And then, which means that there is a shortage of cybersecurity skilled manpower. So, for all of us who are here, maybe we are also here to figure out what sort of opportunities does exist in cybersecurity in terms of a career. Now, this is what I'm here to talk about. In IT, what all can you do? Now, you could specialize in vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. Now, this is a huge area which every organization who's using technology to have, which means I'm not going to be talking about the column which you see in the middle and the one on the right, not much, because that's again going to consume a lot of time. But if you see the job roles which one can look at, if you specialize in vulnerability assessment and pen testing, these are the job roles which you could look at. The middle column is for you. Now, as the company which I represent, which is EC Council, as I said, we are a cybersecurity, certification and training body. We do have certifications which you see on the right hand side. I'm not here to talk much about them, those courses. We all know about it, but I thought since I'm presenting this track for people's understanding, I would also say, what are the options? How do you get these job roles? What sort of certifications should you do? Cyber forensics, that's a beautiful area which, for those of you who think you have the Sherlock Holmes mind, or you have the James Bond mind kind of thing, in you and you want to be part of forensics, which means, figure out what went wrong, how did a wrong thing happen, and how to fix those problems, what are the weakness areas. These are the specializations which you could look at. The job roles are mentioned against that, and we as EC Council, we have certifications there. Now, if you say that you want to be in the network operations or network defense and operations area, we do have these job roles which you can target for yourself, and the certification courses are mentioned against that as well. Software security. Now, what's also important for us to understand is that there is software security which is in demand, because why do break-ins happen? It is because there is inherent weakness in the tools, applications, or softwares which were built. So what we do is we train people to be application security experts, which means when you build a flawless system. We also you could also look at the governance level career. If you think that you would want to be a CCSO or a chief security officer or a technology head, this is definitely an area which you could look at. And there are job roles which are there, and then there are courses available, of course, for those as well. Now, I just I was browsing through Google, and yesterday I could figure out what sort of jobs are available in Kenya. Now, this is specific to Kenya. Each one of you could do your own research for the specific geography you're looking for, or any other place which you're looking for. Now, this is Kenya. Now, if you see the job titles, these are the job roles, and the salaries. These are annual salaries which are mentioned. Obviously, these are averages, so there might be somebody who's being paid much higher than these numbers which you see on the screen, or there could be somebody who's being paid lesser than that as well. So it's as low as maybe $288,000, sorry, Kenyan shillings a year, to about 1.3 million. 1.3 million is what is the highest which is visible here. Not small money by any standards. So young boys and girls who are listening to this and wanting to have a cyber career or a cybersecurity career, you have these numbers in front of you. So look at it, grab those opportunities, because this industry is growing and there's huge demand here as well. Now, job postings, again, I just did a basic search, and there are some of these job postings which are there. And against the job postings, if you see, we have some of our EC Council certifications which are mentioned as a prerequisite or a professional qualification which is desired by the employers for you to get employed in this space. So, opportunities lie within your country, within your city, and within your continent, and of course across the world. What's important for you here at this point is to make sure that you do get just the knowledge may not be sufficient, because this is a technical industry. This is an industry which needs proof of your knowledge. Just because in an interview of 20 minutes or 30 minutes, nobody will be able to judge what is the capability of a person. So a certification is a proof. So for you to get to the interview level in an organization to be hired, you need certifications. And some of this, it was just impromptu. I just did some search, and there are jobs within Kenya itself which is available. You could all target these positions, these jobs, and it's something which is out of bounds. It is there, it is reachable. You just need to have the right kind of skills, right kind of certifications to do that. That's all I have to say. Just before I part, I want to add one specific point to all of you who are wanting to have a career in cybersecurity, is to ensure that build your knowledge, build practical capability. That's very, very important for each one of you, because if you just study from somewhere and get some certificate in your hand, that may not be sufficient, because this is a completely practical oriented job. And Afralty, for us, for EC Council, they've been a partner for many, many years with us, and they've been delivering excellent trainings in Kenya, and I would definitely recommend that to reach out to them for your certification needs. That's it from my side, and I thank you all once again for listening to me patiently.
Okay, thank you, Joby, for the presentation. Indeed, Afrauti is an EC Council partner. We've been working together for quite some time. We are very happy about the solutions that, or the training solutions that are developed by EC Council. Very relevant here in the country, and I'm sure not just here in the country, but all over the world. And I just to remind the audience, I was listening to the statistics, and I'm imagining 1/6 of the crimes being cyber-related crimes, translating to about 17% just for one area. And remember, there are so many other areas in the, in the world. There's medical, there are many areas, industries, but now we are talking about just a single sector of the economy, which is cyber security, with 17% of crimes. This means that indeed the professionals in cybersecurity are needed, and I think even as we speak, they are not enough. So again, thank you very much for that presentation. We'll be meeting in some few minutes for the question and answers. Please stay around. I need to invite the next speaker, Shrem from Avnon Group. Avnon Group is also a partner of Afrauti. We are very happy to have this partnership, and we believe it is going to create opportunities and also solutions relating to cyber security. So kindly, you can introduce yourself and share your presentation. So welcome.
First of all, do you hear me? Yes, do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Dror.
Good. So good morning. I will share my screen. Who wants to earn annual salary more than $100,000? I guess many of us. If we will do a survey, many of us, $100,000 annual salary is very good salary. Did you know, or do you know, that every 40 seconds happen a cyber attack? This is our world, cybersecurity. So if you see my screen?
Yes, we can see a screen.
Good.
I don't know whether you can enlarge it. If possible, that would be better.
Yes, I will add it. So, good morning. My name is Dror Shrem, and I am the CEO of Avnon Academy. We are specialized in cybersecurity training. When I graduated from the University of Tel Aviv in Israel, with a degree of engineering, I didn't see myself working in cybersecurity. But just as quickly as technology advance, career options and educational pathways grow. Today, you will find a lot of information about cybersecurity field and many educational paths that you can lead you to your dream. But it's very important to understand what is the correct path for you. So I listened to all my colleagues before. Thank you. It was very important to share, and there are plenty of paths, ways to become a professional in cybersecurity. It's very important to understand, and it doesn't matter, it doesn't refer only to cybersecurity. Knowledge and skills, this is a way of professional life. Okay, if you would like to be professional, Doesn't matter the topic in plumbing, in welding, in engineering, knowledge and skills. And if we talk also about specific in cybersecurity, where all the time there is updating of something new, you must always become and to learn to learn something new and to be updated all the time. I just want to go down. Okay, some numbers just to figure out. For example, in Canada, every year the demand of cybersecurity professional is growing by 7% every year. I don't know if you know, we have the world 3.5 million open positions, okay, in 2021, and things that always growing. And of course, the salary. The annual salary is around $100,000. Yes, it's average to all the world all the countries in the world, but think about Kenya, think about East Africa, think about Africa as well, and think about then you can provide and you can contract to all the countries in the world. For example, Israel companies looking for partners for a cybersecurity contractor. Okay, and I know I work in the Europe, and I know that other companies look for contractor and professional people that can work from Kenya and provide solution and product. So this is the issue today. The issue today is look for professional people in cybersecurity, not only in cybersecurity, also in the IT and the ICT topics, but the cybersecurity is like the diamond, like it's shining that we have lack of professional people, and countries, organizations do a lot of efforts to train people, and we are part of it, to train people to become more and more professional in cybersecurity. It's very important to understand the diversity required. Today, cybersecurity professional knows that the best solution comes from diverse team. Having people of different background and experience working together on a problem creates the best, most effective solution. This is the most effective solution. We combine people from diversity background, and together they find the best solution. This is the way. And now, cybersecurity professional, where we need it. So we need it in all the sectors, from the finance and banking, for the government, health, connector, transportation, energy. It doesn't matter. Cybersecurity professional, it's a professional, cybersecurity professional employees or the most important people in the organization. Yes, we need it in the finance institution and banking, okay, because we don't want cyber attacks. We need it in the government. We don't want that people will attack and take information about us, about our citizens, and etc., etc. Of course, there are specific demand or specific requirement when we talk in finance and banking and when we talk in government, but the major path is the same. We need you to join in to cybersecurity industry. So who is hiring actually? And everyone talk about it. Everyone hiring cybersecurity. So, and because you know why? Because we have a problem. The world has a problem. The country has a problem. Cyber attack happen every 40 seconds. I told it before, and I keep telling it because this is the issue. Okay, things that someone will attack your bank account. Someone will thief your personal entity. So it's dangerous. So this is what we do. Everyone is hiring, and also there are cross between countries. I know many of companies around the globe looking for professional companies and professional people in cybersecurity industry to hire them from there to do outsourcing. For example, who knows good some of the subtopics in cyber? Believe me, is going to be a rich person. This is something that already talked, and due to the demand, the highly demand, so you understand that also if you don't have experience, it's okay. Okay, the employees, the companies have the tolerance to hire people that they don't have experience and to teach them on the job training, but they must come with a preliminary of background, and this is what we do. I would like to show you, this is very important, the bottom line. I don't know if you see, I will enlarge it. The bottom line is that you don't need to be highly technical or understand the inner working of computer. Okay, this is very important. However, you need to understand the basic of the cybersecurity ecosystem. Many of the university and colleges and other companies will train you and have a course, cybersecurity courses. Take one of them to elective to see if the work in field. And do not forget, you will be trained on the job training after you will have the basic knowledge, and then you always be trained. Training, knowledge, and skills are most important. And of course, there are three main ways to be professional success. For example, if we will take who's going to university to get a bachelor or graduate degree, okay, or after the bachelor, the master degree, okay, it's very good, okay. Then you can go to the college, okay, to receive a diploma. Second, you got a certification. Do not forget, cybersecurity is a professional person. It's not necessary. It's not must have to receive. You have a bachelor degree. Also, if you are a digital forensics expert, don't need bachelor degree. I will send later the PowerPoint that you can share it. I will share it later. Also, we talk about the certification, but I would like to show you. I would like to show you the certification that you can. No. I would like to show you the certification that you can. It's most relevant in cybersecurity. Of course, we start everyone who doesn't have the background start with cybersecurity fundamental. After it's going to be a protector of first responders and of course CISO. And if we are going down and we go to the cybersecurity tester and cybersecurity expert, and we have a lot of niche, okay? But as I said before, if you want to join into cybersecurity efforts and cybersecurity industry, you are welcome. But it's most important you will know that knowledge and skills, it's not just one time. You need all the time to be updated with new techniques or new theories how to be defended, okay, because we defend against the cyber attacks. And this is a way of professional life, but this is a way of success. So a little bit about Avnon Academy. Avnon Academy is an expert of cybersecurity. We work with more than 70 countries, 80, 75 around the world. And we see and we feel, and everyone tells that there is a huge demand of professional cybersecurity experts, especially in the government, especially in financial institutions and banks and in banking. Countries need professional people in cybersecurity. And do not forget, every 40 seconds happened cyber attack. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thanks a lot, Drew, for that presentation. I picked the point there. It's all about the knowledge and skills, and I totally agree. In fact, Drew preempted some of the questions that we wanted to ask at the end of the presentation, but anyway, when you get there, we'll discuss more. So thank you for that, Drew.
With my pleasure.
Yeah, thanks. Next and finally, we are going to have Madam Caroline Masharia from Afrauti. She is the Huawei administrator here at Afrauti. Huawei is one of our partners in conducting some of this training in cybersecurity. So Madam Caroline is also a training expert. She will spend some few minutes, because of time, maybe 5 or so minutes, just to talk some few things about what is happening there. So Caroline, please.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. Okay, hi everyone. So I'm going to share a presentation on from Huawei. I'm representing Huawei. As Steve has said, I'm the one who manages and coordinates the Huawei courses at Afrauti. So I'm just going to share with you a presentation on some of the cybersecurity opportunities. Opportunities in cybersecurity. So when you're looking at cybersecurity, we no longer consider it as only a technical issue, but it has become a legal and political issue. This is because of the repercussions if your network is affected by a virus, like for example, the ransomware. What are the repercussions of such an impact? So when you look at information security, then you have to consider the preservation of the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of data through security technologies. So I'm going to give you a case study here of what happened in 2019 in Riviera Beach, Florida. There was a ransomware attack. So the city of Riviera Beach, Florida was attacked by a ransom virus, and the city municipality returned to primitive society in one night. So we all know the impacts of a virus. If that affects your organization, then it means it brings down the entire organization. People cannot communicate. For this case, data in the city's public database was encrypted, all files were locked, and services, including the city's email system, billing system, and 911 dispatch system were shut down. And how did this happen? Someone in the local police department opened an infected email, and the ransom virus spread to the whole system. So that is why we should avoid clicking any emails that we do not understand. If you suspect any email to be malicious, then you should not click on it, because the moment you click on a link, then that virus replicates to the entire network and it brings down your whole network. So the data that you will have worked on over the years just goes to waste like that. So we have to be very cautious on whatever we click on. So from the perspective of end users, the key points of personal information protection that consumers are most concerned about, they are concerned about the source, purpose, method, and scope of personal information collected and used, the keeping period, social protection, security assurance after personal information is collected, the storage period, support query, and the channels for receiving complaints and reporting. So that is the perspective of end users. And then from the perspective of ICT companies, we look at three main areas. There is the confidentiality of the data, the integrity, and availability. So for organizations, how do you do well for cybersecurity? You have to ensure that all employees understand the importance of cybersecurity. Why should you take high cost on cybersecurity? Because the reputation for security will outweigh its service / experience value. So in whatever we do, we always have to be keen on the cybersecurity, ensuring security for our devices and ensuring security for our data. So some of the opportunities, the cybersecurity job opportunities in the ICT industry, for the project planning technicians, the main cybersecurity opportunity, once you study cybersecurity, you'll be able to plan and review the solution to mitigate risks in the early stage. You'll be able to strictly control the factors affecting network security in the network planning phase. And then for the project delivery technicians, these ones strictly ensure that the implementation solution must be available before implementation. The implementation solution must be reviewed and the feasibility of the solution must be verified. And then for the operations and maintenance technicians, these ones perform network preventive maintenance inspection and problem rectification. They understand the network and perform risk evaluation and problem rectification. So cybersecurity opportunities cut across whatever project you may be working on, you have to ensure that you assure security, because any loss of your data, it means that you have to work your way through gathering that data again, putting it together and being able to use it to implement whatever you want in your network. Okay, so as Steve has mentioned, I'm the Huawei coordinator, and at Afralty we have a Huawei training center where we are offering the hardware-based courses like the FTTX, that's the fiber. We have 5G, we have the wireless, we have microwave training, and we also have the data communication training. So what we have at Afralty is a demo center, and I would encourage you to take up some of these courses. And we also have the security courses, which are also offered in this training center. So thank you for listening, and good day.
Okay, thanks, Madam Caroline, for the presentation representing Huawei and also our Huawei partnership here at Afrauti. Indeed, what you mentioned there was also echoed by the earlier speakers. There's that need for cybersecurity professionals. And I don't see, like in the near future, where this need is just abruptly going to come to a stop. The more we connect, as we said earlier, the more the risk or the threats, and the more the need to have people in this field. So that ends our first session by the various presenters. Again, to thank you all, we had Rose Mosero, and we had Gigi, Joby, Drol, and also Caroline. Is there any other one I forgot? So those are the speakers that we had this morning. The next session is question and answers. Catherine, you can confirm whether there are some questions from the audience. If there are no questions, then I'll share some of the questions I had. We can discuss them with the panel here. If there are questions, you can let me know so that we can incorporate it in our discussions here. Catherine, I hope you are with us. Okay.
Yes, I'm here, Steve, and I'll pass on the questions to you.
Okay. Now to the audience, if you have some questions, you can text them using the chat tool available. I don't know whether there's any other platform available for receiving questions or queries from the audience. Catherine, you can clarify that. If it is only the WhatsApp, please just chat on the, not WhatsApp, but if it's only through Zoom, use the Zoom tool to chat. Okay, I want to project some few questions that we had. Catherine, okay, no, don't worry. Give me a minute, I share.
As Steve shares his screen, we are live on YouTube, so I'll be picking some questions from there too, and also on Twitter. Keep the conversation going. You can follow us at Afralty. And yeah, I'm seeing some questions coming up on the chat session. We will be able to incorporate this during the question and answer session as we go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, so thanks, Catherine. You receive those questions and share with us here. Okay, let's go straight to the session. We have the questions here. Okay, this one, maybe you can start off with Rose, who has been quiet since she was the first presenter. We have some questions here. General question, not necessarily related to the area of law that you presented, but if you're able to connect it with the law field, then it's still okay. And if there's any other speaker who wants to chime in, they can always do that. Besides the IT skills that we know, what other skills would you consider necessary for a successful cybersecurity expert? And you can also think about the other one. How would you rate the quality of cybersecurity training currently in Kenya? So, Rose, I hope we are still together. You can go ahead and share your opinions about the questions here.
Thank you. I think when we talk about the sorts of skills that are required, one needs to look at the cybersecurity field holistically. So there's IT aspects that I think even Joel has mentioned, and I think Joby mentioned as well, that there are other skills that need to come into place. So there's issues of being able to analyze, being able to, I guess, also understand the legal frameworks for compliance issues. There's also a need to really look into the entirety of the landscape. So it's IT skills, but you're also required to also know just the soft skills that attach to having a job specifically. So, you know, how do you sell yourself? How do you communicate issues of cybersecurity to management or your boss or whomever? So it's not just the IT skills that are required. I personally, as I've mentioned, I'm not an IT expert. I'm a lawyer, but then I operate in this area, and so my analytical skills have come into place for me to be able to communicate issues to my boss or my bosses. There's also the need for me to have very sound communication skills. There's a need for me to also understand issues that affect IT, but also issues that are affecting the country at large for me to be able to appreciate, I guess, the magnitude of the importance of cybersecurity, not just at a macro level in terms of the office space that I occupy, but also a micro level in terms of, sorry, not a micro level, but a macro level in terms of Kenya and the overflow of effects in terms of global cybersecurity threats. In terms of the quality of cybersecurity training currently in Kenya, unfortunately, I'm not able to respond to that. So I'll pass that one on to someone else. But based on the people that I've come across, I think there is a need for a more hands-on type of cybersecurity training. We've had a lot of in the ministry as well as at the office, people who are trained in cybersecurity and IT generally. And so the need for there to be, again, holistic training, not just on the theoretical aspects of cybersecurity, but also the practicalities of it. There's also a need for training on how exactly to go about with your working skills, so your comms, your report writing, your I won't say argument skills for the, but how do you convince me of the importance of cybersecurity? Say, for example, if you're working in an organization and there is a discussion in regards to the sorts of cybersecurity safeguards that need to be put into place, and you need to emphasize the importance of that, and especially if there is a budgetary implication for that. So there's a need to really get your point across in that regard. So whilst the training is good, I think overall there's a need to enhance so that there is a more practical hands-on training for people to be prepared to actually go into the field, not only have cybersecurity expertise, but also be able to defend their position with respect to cybersecurity needs. Thank you so much, Stephen, back to you.
Oh, thanks, Rose. Let me give the opportunity to other panelists. If there's something they can add, please go ahead. Anybody from the panel, you can contribute.
Steve Jobby here. I have a couple of words to say on this. Very well said, Rose. But just to add to a few things, I would say a cybersecurity expert is only good as long as he or she is constantly updating his or her skills and abilities in the area. Cybersecurity is an ever-changing area, so to say, because if you look at many of our EC Council certifications, we are in the 10th version, in the 9th version, and the 11th version of our course material. Primarily, why do we do it? Because the industry is changing, the subject matter is changing, new challenges are coming up. And if a cybersecurity expert has to remain an expert, he or she needs to constantly upgrade their knowledge and skills, which means there's a need for continuous learning. If you have a certification, if you have a degree or a bachelor's or a master's in your hand, and if you feel that you're there and you know everything, you will be stale and obsolete in no time, because this is a industry, this is a sector which is going through constant change as we speak. And in terms of cybersecurity training in Kenya, I would say it is at a decent level, but then there's a lot to be done, because there's a huge young population in the country, and there are many people who are looking for career opportunities. So if players like Afralty could look at opportunities for the general mass, let's say, make the trainings more affordable, reach out to vendors like us or any other partners which you have, create a plan to reach out to the masses. Maybe Rose, who's part of the advisory in the government, could also explore opportunities where maybe government and Afralty could join hands and see how we could take the training, certification, and cybersecurity knowledge transfer to the general masses. Maybe as of now, whatever we are offering to the market right now is not affordable from a financial perspective to everybody. So those are my 2 cents on this particular topic. Stephen, over to you.
Oh, thanks, Joby. Absolutely, I agree with the points there. And just to echo what he said, which is important in this discussion, I think some of the, I don't know whether you can call them skills or traits that someone should have, is that ability to cope with the changes. As you mentioned there, this is a constantly changing domain. So that should be like a skill or a requirement. So thanks. I think because of time and since we have other areas, questions in other areas, let me move to the second one, set of questions, and we can discuss that. Okay, this one I wanted the Gigi to handle this. It's about what are the key skills and technologies to learn to be a successful cybersecurity professional. I think some of the things that are there have been mentioned, but you can also confirm that. And what are the available cybersecurity entry-level jobs for those people who would want to, or coming from universities or colleges, or those ones who would want to change some their careers to the cybersecurity. So, Gigi, please.
Sure. Thank you so much, Stephen. So let me just answer the second bullet first. And what are the available cybersecurity entry level jobs? For that, I would really advise to look into those cybersecurity career first. A lot of the tech companies and they do have these. This career first that they're looking for advanced, say, cyber engineers or data protection individuals that are looking for that entry job. So absolutely, I would actually go into the do the search cybersecurity careers. A lot of these companies, and I'm not going to say which companies, but a lot of them, they have a lot of, even within departments, if you look at them, a lot of these companies, they have their trust and safety departments that have a lot of jobs available, posted out there. So it's really, as a recent graduate, you have to think proactively and start looking for these jobs. Right now, the market is very vulnerable market, and there's a lot of jobs opening right now. But also at the same time, there's a lot of jobs that we've seen that there's that they're coming. It's a fast grab market, right? So I would highly encourage everyone to start looking and look at the online career first. And again, some of these companies actually have a lot of postings out there. Create a LinkedIn profile. Absolutely, that's important these days. Everyone looks at LinkedIn profiles, so I would highly advise everyone to start making sure that you have a LinkedIn profile. So, what are some of the skills? I want to move to the first bullet. What are the skills and technologies to learn a successful cybersecurity professional? So again, I think this goes back to the in this space. What I would be looking at, someone is doing, say, open source. Open source tools are right now far the most needed sort of tools that the companies are looking for. Not just even the companies, law enforcement. Law enforcement, I mean, by far, open source is as far as the most needed way of doing investigations. Because if you look at it from the law enforcement perspective, look at some of these forensic tools, for instance, that they're so expensive, even for a agency, a federal agency in the United States, to afford a license is really expensive. So a lot of these agencies are looking at open source technologies because they're cheaper, they're easily accessible, and you can almost do everything. Of course, it's not all the bells and whistles, but if you are an investigator, for instance, in the cybersecurity stuff, to do the basic proactive investigations, you go to open source. So anyway, I hope that answers that question. Thank you. Over to you, Stephen.
Thanks, Gigi, for those dots there. Indeed, I agree there. If there's anyone from the panel who would like to contribute or to add on to what Gigi has shared there, please, can you go ahead? Rose, Drol, Caroline, Joby. Okay, so I think this from the panel, there's nothing more to add there, but indeed there mentioned the skills there and the entry level jobs, and also important using the LinkedIn, you can learn so much from there, and also the internet. Let's go to the next part. Time is also moving. From Joby, I wanted some ideas about what are the best cybersecurity qualifications. I know EC Council has several of these, but maybe you can pick on some few that are appropriate for beginners. And the next question there is, what are the best cybersecurity qualifications for technology experts? So here we are looking at people who do not have that background in ICT, they are not engineers, and the best qualifications for the guys, I'm sure in the audience, you have people who are already have done some degrees in cybersecurity and such. Joby, please.
Sure, Stephen, thanks. So the best cybersecurity solution for beginners, rather certification for beginners, I would say that, what you should look at is, if you're completely new to IT per se, I would say you must start with your knowledge on building your knowledge on networking. You should build your knowledge on, functioning of hardware, functioning of softwares, and maybe a bit of software to start with. Coming to cybersecurity, of course, I would say look at network defense as an area where you could start your journey into cybersecurity and move on from there to maybe ethical hacking, and and maybe to pen testing. And if you want to specialize, as we were discussing in the earlier presentations as well, that if you're looking at law enforcement or looking at forensics as a career, that's a great space to be in as well. So EC Council certifications, we have a certification called CND, which is Certified Network Defender. That's a good starter for somebody who is having at least some basic knowledge of how IT works, or what is networking and what is security and how softwares function, the basic knowledge of it. Otherwise, we do have some foundation courses or fundamental courses as well in information security, in ethical hacking, and in forensics as well. So those are things which are there. Now, people with certifications or qualifications, let's say somebody has done a bachelor's or a master's in cybersecurity already. So they've gone through a lot already in their curriculum, whichever the college or the university has given. Now, does that make you fit to be hired by an organization? Maybe yes, or maybe no. It all depends on how good was your curriculum and how good were you in the class and in your academics in terms of your scoring and all that. Now, there's another important thing which I said earlier at the cost of repetition, I would like to reiterate here, is that this is an industry which is completely practical. It is hands-on. So your theory knowledge, your theoretical knowledge may not necessarily help you in delivering at your job or fulfilling the tasks which are assigned in your job. So I would encourage each one of them, whoever is having already certifications, to look at options, to look at maybe cyber ranges which are available online, of course, online or maybe with vendors like Afralty, who would be offering cyber ranges. When I say cyber ranges, these are, cybersecurity labs online, because then what happens is there are these challenges and different kinds of situations which are thrown at the person, and they are able to practically experience the theoretical knowledge and implement the theoretical knowledge to an extent that they are able to then perform very well, even in an interview, to get selected in a job, or maybe during the course of their jobs as well. So I would encourage somebody who's already certified, to focus more on practical approach. Now, in terms of certifications, we have a beautiful certification which is now giving a run for its money to the leaders in the market for pen testing courses. We have a course which is called as CPENT, and that's one of the most challenging courses and the certification to clear. It is a 24 hours practical exams and all that. So those of you who think that you want to be the best in the pen testing arena, that's the course for you. So that's it from my end. Stephen, over to you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Joby, for sharing that. I'm sure we now are aware of what we should do, whether we are from the non-technical background, trying to get ourselves into cybersecurity, or whether we are experts or technology experts. So thanks. Because of time, let's move to the next questions. Okay, this one was meant for Draw. Draw, I'm told he had another appointment and he's just left. Maybe I can skip the first bullet and go to the second one. Is cybersecurity career suitable for young people, or age is not a limitation? Maybe someone from the panel. Can anybody, irrespective of their age, be encouraged to take up cybersecurity careers?
Well, Stephen, if I could answer that, I think it's very important, especially as we're looking at age. You look at all the young children, even in high school, to start looking into that cybersecurity, because honestly, that's going to be a trade that we're all going to need to use. It's kind of like back in the 80s, the individuals that would come to your house and try to fix the antenna or the roof fixers. Cybersecurity is here to stay. And I think that the earlier we start looking into some of the issues, the better, right? So if you look at grade school, middle school, even into high school, university, start looking into those careers now, because technology is here to change. It's here to stay, but it's gonna get here. It's gonna change. So I think the younger, and we always encourage it at the career first. The younger the children, I say children because they're young adults, right? The younger they start looking into it, the better.
Okay, great. Anybody from the panel who wants to add something? Rose?
Sure, thank you so much for that, Stephen. Just quickly, before I answer the question, yes. One of the things that the ministry has been working on is something called Ajira Digital Programs. Ajira effectively looks at building capacity of youth in areas of IT specifically, but also soft skills. So effectively being able to utilize, whether you're an accountant, a lawyer, how do you actually operate on the online market? How do you sell yourself online? How do you get digital jobs or digitally enabled jobs? And one of the focuses, or one of the key areas of focus is digital values and skills. And this comes from a very, from a basic level of how do you protect yourself? How do you ensure that your security is safe when you're transacting online to a more advanced training that we do with different partners, including Huawei, on issues of cybersecurity. So, you know, when you ask me whether it is, or when the question comes up whether a cybersecurity career is suitable for young people, definitely it is. I think most careers are suitable for young people because ultimately they'll be the one the ones who will take on the baton as the people who are currently there continue to grow and are phased out because of age or new technologies come in, and young people in Kenya specifically are very adaptable to these new technologies, and so should in fact be encouraged to get into this fields of technology and cybersecurity at a very early age, so that they can be experts even earlier and continue to train and to get certifications and to use the skills that they've gotten into practical, you know, parts of their career. And I might even say myself, if I can, you know, say I'd consider myself young. I'm still in the youth bracket, per the constitutional definition of what youth is. And this is an area that not necessarily cybersecurity per se, but in terms of privacy and data protection, which is part of cybersecurity, have gotten into this field. So there's a lot of opportunity for young people to get in, and age should not be a limitation. Also the older ones as well who want to get into this field, it's very ripe for anyone, and there's a need for skilled people. And so it shouldn't be that because you're not young that you don't want to get into this field. It is really for everyone, as long as you've got the interest and the drive to learn and keep evolving. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Rose, for all that. Yeah, I totally agree there, especially looking at the aspect of the youth being able to adapt to the new changes. Then they are the target for this, or they can be a good target for this cybersecurity. And also, in addition to that, I know that in Kenya, we have the CBC, and one of the objectives is to expose this even young children in primary schools, expose them to the digital skills. So, which now again takes us back to our discussion, the need for cybersecurity careers. If everybody is going to be using the digital skills and exposed to that, there's need even for teaching in these schools, developing curriculum. There's a lot of opportunities created by this cybersecurity. Okay, let's see whether time is moving, but let's see whether you can answer one or two questions. I think some of these questions have been preempted during the discussions, like the strategies to progress in our careers. I think we've seen Joby talking about the various certifications and qualifications that one needs to have, and how one can transition to cybersecurity. I think the panel has shared that it's not only, or cybersecurity is not just for the technical guys. Although Caroline, if there's something that you want to add, you can add, and you allow me to answer some questions from the audience. There are some few questions that have been shared by Catherine. I don't know whether Catherine, I'll give you an opportunity to maybe ask the questions, then we can spend 5 minutes, not more than 5 minutes because of time. Then we come to the end. Caroline, if there's something you want to add, please add.
Okay, I think the previous speakers have exhausted all the points. I really don't have anything to add, but cybersecurity is supposed to be a topic for everyone, or an area where everyone should have an interest, because even the young kids now are having these phones, these gadgets. So we have to ensure that as they browse the internet, they are safe because of the cyber bullies. One of the speakers mentioned that. So it's up to us to ensure that these gadgets are safe, to secure to keep our children safe and every user of the internet and these gadgets. So thank you, Steve.
Okay, thanks, Madam Caroline. We stop there for now, and we answer one or two questions from the audience. Catherine, I'll request you to, I know you've sent some questions. I'll request you to pick maybe one or two questions and direct them to the panel, and using some few minutes, not more than 5. I don't want to keep you for longer, 5 minutes or so. We can try to answer them. So Catherine, please.
Okay, thanks, Steve. I'm going to direct the questions to the fraternity that are present here. So we have the first one where someone asked, does a fraternity offer internships? So I'll ask Jonathan Makijale, if you're on, if you could answer this.
Yes, I think I'll be very brief on that. Yes, we do offer internship. Yeah, limited slots we do. Even currently we have at least some people on internship. Yes, we do. I think that's so brief as that. You're welcome to visit our website, send us email through especially training at afrati.org or info.org. So yes, we do. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Jonathan. The second question that has appeared multiple times is, does a fraternity offer scholarships for the less fortunate people who are not capable to come up with the money needed to get the necessary training? I think I can take this on. So yes, we do have scholarships currently, especially on the area of cybersecurity. One, as mentioned earlier, we are the chosen provider for training on child online protection, which is sponsored by the Communications Authority. We are in our 3rd year conducting that training. And then also we have IBM. IBM has sponsored 50,000 Kenyan youth to train on emerging technologies, and cybersecurity is just one of the emerging technologies included in this course under their skills build for students in Kenya, which Afralti is the implementing partner in Kenya. And we are targeting 14 to 25-year-olds. So for the two opportunities, that's child online protection and IBM, the skills build for students, those are fully sponsored, and those are the two courses and which have cybersecurity involved in them that you can take them up. If this interests you, as Jonathan has said, kindly write to us at training@afralti.org, and we'll be able to guide you on the necessary steps on how to apply for the next class or how to get you absorbed in the program. I think, Steve, we can take one more question, but though Joby really did answer this. Does Afralti train vulnerability assessment and penetration testing as a curriculum, or it's broken down to individual courses like CH, CND, CPENT, LPT?
Okay, Catherine, maybe quickly also I can comment. Yes, Afrauti is an EC Council's training center, and we offer those courses, the CH, the CND, the CPENT. They are offered as individual courses. Maybe whoever wanted more information on that can also write to us. Catherine, you can share the training email with the team so that in case they need specific details. I see one is also asking about the course, we can share with them those details. So thanks.
Yeah. All right. The other one, really the last one, it's on if Afralti, we are working with the law enforcement, especially in Kenya, to generally educate the masses in being aware and proactive to not only protect themselves, but others. Like I said, yes, we do have the Child Online Protection Program where we are working with the Kenya Law Reforms and the DCI. There are some of the partners whom we have in the program. So if you're interested in joining that program, we are currently running our second cohort for the third year. Please write to us and we'll be able to absorb you in the program. I've also seen a question or request to share the slides. Yes, we will be able to share the slides with you after the webinar is over by the end of the day. So that we've taken your request and we will act on it. I think, Steve, from my end, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Catherine. Thanks a lot for that. Thank you, everybody. I invite Anita to share her closing remarks. Anita from Afrauti. As Anita comes, personally, I want to appreciate all the speakers and everybody, the audience, who have been with us since 11 a.m. up to now, specifically the speakers, Rose, for your contribution. It was nice meeting you. I'm sure you have a physical meeting in the future. Gigi, thank you very much for sharing. Joby, again from EC Council, I thank you very much. Draw, although he has left, I appreciate your appearance today, and also Caroline for sharing information about what you're doing with Huawei. Anita, please.
Thank you so much, Steve, our moderator. My name is Anita Natwati, the Business Development Officer and the Training Coordinator at Afrauti. On behalf of Afrauti, we have appreciated the engagement and the conduit that you have all contributed to this workshop. This workshop has been proactive in coming to grips with the importance in changes taking place around the world on cybersecurity. Several important insights and action items were accomplished through this workshop, especially when we look at the cybersecurity career options. They were well highlighted, and also the demand on the market for these jobs in Africa. We also had the best cybersecurity certifications for beginners to the expert level. This one we had them from almost all panelists, but the best was from EC Council and from Avnon. There are also strategies that were highlighted on what to apply in the cybersecurity market. Generally, how to effectively use the normative safety culture framework through the customization to the specific local conditions. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to invite you to our website, that is www.training.afrauti.org, for all our trainings, which we have cybersecurity trainings, and you can also be able to get the sponsorships, especially on IBM, that is on emerging technologies, and child online protection that falls under cybersecurity. I know a number of you have been trained on child online protection. Now we also invite you to take up the sponsorship on the IBM trainings, that is on emerging technologies. I will now take this opportunity as we come to the end of the webinar to thank all of you for gathering here and making this webinar a huge success. While this is a responsibility-filled day for us, it was also an emotional moment as we have gathered to create awareness about cybersecurity, not only in Africa, but globally. As you know, we are a capacity building institution, so cybersecurity attacks will continue being more common and more harmful. But now we have courses that will enable all of you to be certified and able to prevent all the cyber attacks that will be coming our way. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all our panelists, starting with Madam Rose Mosero from the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner, Kenya, Guillermo Galaza, the Vice President at International Center for Missing and Exploited Children, Jovi Vargas from East Council Africa, Country Manager, Dror Shrem, the CEO for Avlon Group, and Caroline Masharia, our Huawei Training Administrator, who represented Huawei Technologies. I will also take this opportunity to thank the event organizers, starting with Madam Catherine Kabiria from Afrauti, Steve Gashogu, Mr. Jonathan Mwakijele, and Caroline Mashario on this. Though it was a short notice, but we thank you so much for making it such a beautiful and a memorable event. My special thanks to our faculty management that is led by our director, Mr. William Baraza, who have understood the essence of the event and allowed us to organize it. Once again, thank you, everyone. I wish you a great day ahead and keep safe. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Anita. So you're free to leave at your own pleasure.